Alright, hey guys, this is Leet Cheese back again with another black-white OU Wi-Fi battle. This is using the same team that I used in the last video, and it's against another person off Smogon, same old stuff, you know. So let's get right to the battle. I hope you enjoy, and here it is. So I'm going to lead with my Metagross again, since he's my standard lead, and I feel like it's worth mentioning that while it looks like my team is in the order, that, you know, because it shows the order on that team preview thing. But before I battle him, my team is out of order and my Metagross isn't actually in the lead position. So I switch it up so that they can't tell immediately that I'm going to lead for my Metagross. And on this first turn, I predict him to over-predict. Since he's leading with his Landorus, I'm assuming it's a choiced one. And I think he's probably going to go for the U-turn since choice Landorus tend to carry the U-turn. He's not just going to go straight for the Earthquake because that's what people tend to do with those choiced U-turn pokes. They go for the U-turn rather than the risky move like Earthquake. And so I can get up my Stealth Rocks for free there, but he goes into his Scarm. I know that he's going to want to start setting up his hazards, and I wasn't sure if he'd be Spikes or Stealth Rocks, but at that point it didn't really matter. So I sent my Rotom, who I know could immediately threaten that Scarm. And now I go for the Hydro Pump, predicting his switch back into maybe his Landorus, thinking I'm going to go for my Electric move, but I forgot that I didn't look at his team all that much, so I didn't know he had a Latios, which takes my Rotom very well. And I get a crit with my Hydro Pump there. I don't think it ends up mattering too much in the battle, but I don't remember for sure. I go back out to my Metagross, thinking it's a Wall Latios, since he took my Hydro Pump so incredibly well. But he makes a good prediction there, knowing that I'll switch, because my Rotom can't touch his Latios. And he goes for a Roar. And then so I took this set off of Wild Chase's OU database, and I didn't know if the hidden power was Ice or Fire, so I decided to test it out there and just go for Ice, thinking maybe he'd want to Roar again anyway. And I find out that it's Fire, so that's not good for me at all, because that's not going to do anything to Latias, and he just recovers there, and it's getting a little ahead of me. But I switch into my Crest there, but he goes for Roar again, out-predicting me. It's okay, since he doesn't have Stealth Rocks up, and I'm not taking Spikes damage on my Levitating pokes. And this time I trick his Latios, which is very good for me since he's a Wall, and I think his only attacking move is probably Dragon Pulse. So him having a Choice Scarf is not too bad for me, but at the same time it's not too bad for him, since Latios is pretty good special attack, and he's got great speed. So Scarf Latias, even though it is a Wall, is still alright with Dragon Pulse. And so I'm just going to Volt Switch out there, thinking he might want to switch. But he doesn't. He ends up just staying in. Me predict I'm going to Volt Switch out. And then I go into my Crest on the Volt Switch, since I can take his Dragon Pulse very easily since it's a Crest. And Crest has incredible special defense. And he switches into a Tyranitar, and I go for the T-Wave because I wanted to get that Latias T-Waved since it's really fast, and if I can make it slow with a Thunder Wave, you know, that's going to solve a lot of my problems, and it won't be bothering me in the future. But he goes into Tyranitar to take that Thunder Wave. Good for him, since Tyranitar does not mind Thunder Wave that much, because he's so slow unless you use Scarf, which I find out that he is not, since he goes through Stux here. And I go into Machamp, because I know Machamp threatens Tyranitar hugely. And now I can get up my free sub, and Machamp can do what he does. You know, get up his sub, start dynamic punching stuff. And Machamp is really just an underrated threat in this metagame right now. There's a ton of teams that are not properly prepared for him, because when he gets up a sub, there's really not much you can do. Something's going to die, or something's going to get seriously injured. And he goes into Arm here. I go for the Dynamic Punch to get him confused. He goes for Spikes. I do not agree with that play. I think he needed to start trying to get me out immediately. It's Whirlwind or go for Brave Bird, because on this turn, as you'll see, he gets confused, which 2 turns, one of the turns he gets confused, one of them he doesn't. That's how it should go. And oh well for him, you know. I don't feel bad about that hacks at all, since he wasn't confused the turn before. And so now I get to finish him off, and it looks to me like he's going to have to send something in to not take one of Machamp's hits very well. And he does end up going to his Landorus, and I really wish I carried the Ice Punch right now. In fact, I don't think it was after this battle, but after the next battle, I changed Stone Edge to Ice Punch, because these ground flying guys can take Machamp too well. Like Gliscor and Landorus are both take Stone Edges alright, and I go for the Dynamic Punch because I was banking on some confusion hacks I don't know. It was probably the wrong play. I should have just gotten the damage off of Stone Edge and switched out here. That was another mistake I made. I was banking on the confusion hacks. He doesn't get it, and he can finish me off with the Earthquake because he's Landorus. And I don't know at this point if he's Scarfed or Banded. I'm thinking he's Scarfed, but I'm not sure. I should have switched into Thunderous on that Earthquake because it really wouldn't have changed anything, and then I'd still have my Machamp. It was a huge misplay on my part, and I think with that misplay, it's one of the major things that cost me the match. But with my Thunderous, I can get up a nasty plot here, and now I wish his Latias didn't have a Scarf. Oh, jeez, I should not have tricked him that Scarf, because I am going to be able to kill him with that +2 Life Orb Hidden Power Ice. And if he wasn't Scarfed, I would have outsped him, because I'm assuming he's not running max speed because of how much bulk he had to take my special hit earlier with my Rotom. But I can take his Dragon Pulse because of his bulky nature, and he goes into his Landorus here, and he does outspeed me, which tells me for sure that he's Scarfed. And he smartly just goes for the U-turn and not the Stone Edge, because now he's not locked into anything. And I lose my Thunderous. I should not have switched out there, of course, since I guess I could have saved him for switch fodder, then he would have had switch advantage. So I think it's better just to do that right now and fodder him out. At this point, oh god, right now, I really wish I had saved Machamp, because I could have brought him in again right now on his Tyranitar and gotten another sub up, and he would have been in trouble again. He'd have to lose another poke to my Machamp, because I'd have a sub up and there's nothing he could really do. But instead I go into my Metagross, who can also take Tyranitar very well, and I can finish him off with the Stab super effective Meteor Mash. Sure, one-hit KO, of course, because Metagross is so powerful. So now that his Tyranitar's down, he is going to go out into his Celebi. And I figured, you know, he might go for the Leech Seed. I figured he was probably a bulky set, so I stayed in. And I ended up going for the Meteor Mash. Oh, I forgot to. I got +1 off that Meteor Mash before, which is huge. But I missed the Meteor Mash. He went for the Earth Power there, and I thought I was dead for sure. Like, okay, oh well, Metagross is dead. But the beast of a Metagross lives his Earth Power. Ridiculous. And at +1, that Meteor Mash would have done a ton. Looking at that Bullet Punch damage, I am absolutely positive the combination of Meteor Mash and Bullet Punch would have killed his Celebi. But I guess I got a +1 there. I would have rather had the Meteor Mash without the +1 and a Bullet Punch, but you know, that's the way it goes. I miss a Meteor Mash, so that's the risk you take using those high power, low accuracy moves. I guess 90 isn't really low accuracy, but that's how it goes sometimes. So I go out into my Cress, who I think can take his Celebi pretty well. And he goes for Giga Drain, and at this point I still have my eject button Cress, which I do change for next video. I thought the gimmicky set would work pretty well, but like I said last video, it does not work well with this team. It doesn't have the right synergy. And so for my next battle, I do take that eject button off and just give it leftovers. I go into Dragonite here. I don't think that Fire Punch can kill him. I am choice banded, but I don't feel like Fire Punch can kill him because of how bulky Celebi is. And so I go for the Outrage, forgetting that he still had a Lucario left on his team, which is going to be able to take my Outrage barely, but enough so that he's going to be able to outspeed me next turn and take me out with an Ice Punch and then die to his... No, he does not die to his Life Orb Recoil. He's able to get one more hit off. If I had gone for the Fire Punch there, I think I could have won this game. Spoiler alert, but you might be able to tell by now that I am not in a very good situation with my Rotom, very low on health, my Cress, you know, can't really take guys that well, and since he's got his Sandstorm up, I can't recover as much with Moonlight. I only get 1/3 of my health back rather than the normal half, which is very unfortunate for me. Otherwise, I think I'd probably be able to win this with just stalling the rest of his team out with Cress. Because his Lucario is going to die to close, or Life Orb Recoil after he goes for a close combat, which like does nothing because it's a Cress. And I'm going to recover a little bit with Moonlight, but because I'm lacking leftovers, the Sandstorm is going to be taking me down. Moonlight's not recovering enough. I'm just not in a good position. And I know he's going to go for U-turn here with his Landorus because, I don't know, I just knew it's super effective and he didn't want to be locked into Stone Edge, which would have done a little bit less than U-turn anyway, even with a 30% Sand Power boost. And I believe Celebi is the only other poke he has left at this point, but he can take me with it. I don't know exactly what his set is. I find out that he's a Nasty Plot set, which is, you know, he'll get one Nasty Plot up because Giga Drain wouldn't kill, without that nasty plot. And I'll be able to get one Ice Beam off. I was praying for a crit or a freeze hex here. It was my only chance at winning, since I think if I had frozen him, gotten a Moonlight off, and then finished him off, I could have then lived any hit from his Landorus and killed that with Ice Beam. But, you know, that would have been the wrong way to win the battle, you know, with all that hacks. So he can finish me off with his Giga Drain since he's at +2. He gets a lot of his health back. And the only poke I have left is my Rotom. I looked at his health and I miscalculated. I thought I wouldn't be able to even live a Stealth Rock. I might have used it earlier if I had realized that I could live a Stealth Rock Suicune, but it probably wouldn't have changed anything. I go for my Hidden Power Fire, hoping for a crit again, not that it matters, since I'm not Scarfed anymore, and I'm just going to die to Sandstorm, and he still has his Landorus left. So that was a close match. It was a very, very narrow 2-0. His Landorus was pretty low in HP, and so was my Celebi. I made several pretty big misplays there, but he also made some good plays, and there was some hacks, you know, both ways. In the end, it was fairly even hacks. With my Meteor Mash miss and my attack raise, that may have been the only hacks, in fact. I guess the confusion on his Scarm, but that was even, you know, 50-50, one time not. And so, good game, Magicman from Smogon, and I'm really liking this team. I've already had a couple more battles with it since because I'm narrating this after I took the battle a couple days ago, and I've made some edits to my team that I feel will help a lot. I made the Rotom was Scarfed for this battle. I changed it to Specs because I feel like with the amount of priority I have in my team in Metagross's Bullet Punch and Dragonite's Extreme Speed and Thundurus's High Speed, I feel like I can take faster pokes well enough that the Specs in Rotom is going to help a lot more than the Scarf. I got rid of Eject Button on Crest, like I said, and gave it Leftovers. And with that, I can also take off Recycle. What a gimmicky set. And give it Lunar Dance. So when I'm facing Sandstorm teams, I can put it to use. I gave Machamp Ice Punch instead of Stone Edge. And I think those are the only things I changed from what I can remember. Oh, and I changed the Hidden Power on my Rotom too. Hopefully that'll come in handy later. We'll see. So if you guys liked my video, be sure to like it. And if you want to see more of what I got going here, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'll be uploading more videos in the near future. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later, and have a great day.